Hey, what is up, mortals? It is SBrookVA here with a new video for you. Welcome to part number 5 of What If Deku Had the 10 Rings. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. And so, we begin. UA High. The hero-focused school had what was likely the best reputation of all the schools in Japan. And it showed. As Izuku walked anxiously into the massive auditorium, he was taken aback by the sheer number of hopefuls who were also trying out. There may only be 36 spots available for standard exam students, with the other 4 reserved to the recommended students, but the stadium-sized room was filled with several hundred, if not thousand, students. To say Izuku was feeling pressure would be an understatement. However, Izuku was knocked out of his stupor by Bakugo, who decided shouldering Izuku would be a better plan than going around him. "Out of the way, Deku!" "Damn nerd," he said under his breath, apparently not wanting to disturb the crushing din of muttering and chatter with his typical aggressive shouting, and simply wanting to get away from the object of his ire, that being Izuku. Unfortunately for both of them, the hall had assigned seating, and they were right next to each other. Wonderful. Bruh. So, they both stayed mostly silent through the following presentation, with the exception of Izuku's chronic mumbling, which of course led to a certain blue-haired engine man calling him out on it. "Stop!" But the introduction came and went, and soon enough the students found themselves ushered into a series of shuttle buses that took them to their assigned battlegrounds. Izuku stepped off the bus with the rings active on his arms. He walked forward, in awe at the massive gate and the skyline he could just see above it. He took a deep breath, readying himself for the task ahead of him. He looked around to see the dozens of other examinees doing similar stretches, calming exercises, or chattering to deal with nerves. And that was when he saw the brown-haired girl who had stopped his fall earlier. To his eyes, she seemed to be having a difficult time calming herself. Izuku started to make his way over to her, to see if he could help, but he was quickly stopped by the tall blue-haired boy who had called him out earlier in the exam hall. "She looks like she is trying to focus. Are you trying to break it? Are you even here to take this exam, or are you just trying to sabotage us?" "What? No, I'm just trying to help. We met earlier, and she looked like she was having difficulty focusing." "Oh, All right, little listeners, the exam starts now!" The examinees all looked up, confused at Present Mike, who was in an observation tower above the gate. "What are you waiting for? There's no countdown in real life. Go, go, go!" They got going. Dozens of teens all surging forward at once, others more successful than others. Ida used his engines to speed ahead and out of the crowd, while Izuku fired the rings behind him, launching forward and into the air towards the swarm of robots that had begun to appear. After 7 months of training in combat and strength, he was ready. He fired the rings again in front of him to slow his descent while taking out 2 3-pointers at the same time, rolling into the impact of his landing and bouncing up into a fluid combat stance, a 45-degree angle. He immediately began to take out robots. Izuku fired energy bursts and rings all around him, putting a large dent in the initial Robo Inferno. Even as he massacred his way through, more were beginning to pop up in groups, quickly being intercepted by the other examinees arriving close behind him. Izuku could see that it was about to get a lot more crowded on Main Street. Izuku made his way through the renewed metal onslaught, heading for the side streets where he wouldn't have to work around the other examinees quite as much. As he rounded the corners of the mock city, he came across a problem. A blonde-haired boy clutching his stomach as robots surrounded him. Thinking quickly, Izuku threw all the rings on his right arm out into a chain of energy and brass-colored metal. He then spun around and sent the rings flying, spinning and cutting through one part of the swarm around the boy. The rings returned to Izuku as he sent one of the bands on his left arm through the torso of a 2-pointer that was trying to hit the blonde from behind. "Are you all right?" "Oui, merci. I'm afraid I sparkled too hard and now my stomach has begun a revolution against me." "What?" "Oh, your quirk. Does it hurt your stomach if you overuse it?" "I'm afraid so." "Oh, that's unpleasant. Can you keep going?" "Oui, these robots will not stop my twinkling." "That's good." Izuku was taken aback by the flamboyancy of the boy next to him, but it didn't bother him, especially as the blonde boy fought through the pain and sent a sparkling laser, literally, through several robots, slicing them in 2. The 2 students fought back-to-back against the remaining robots. "Thank you for your help, mon ami. Now I think I will head back toward the center, where I may be able to rest for a moment." "Good plan! I don't know your name." "Izuku Midoriya." "Good luck, Aoyama." "Et tu?" The 2 parted ways, and Izuku resumed his dash through the streets in search of robots. He did find a couple of clusters, but not too many. Most were attempting to attack examinees who had the same idea, but were taken off guard. He helped where he could. Soon enough, the robots began to dry up. He wasn't overly worried, though. He had counted his point total to be somewhere in the region of 50 to 60. So Izuku decided to change tactics a little. He launched himself up onto the buildings and began to keep an eye out for anyone who needed help. While he did end up saving a few examinees from a few cheap shots, not much was going on far away from the main battle on the main street. Before he could think to return to the fray, however, he spotted someone on a higher building that piqued his curiosity. Once again using the rings to propel himself, he landed on a rooftop with another massive examinee. Whoa! That's so cool! The examinee in question turned an eye on an arm to face Midoriya, even as another arm grew a mouth. I didn't expect anyone else to be up here. Until I saw you, neither did I. Your quirk is so cool! You're like an octopus! Indeed he was. With 6 arms and 2 legs, Shoji was a veritable land octopus, though on each arm he had a different sensory organ, with most of them, at the moment, being extra ears. Can you hear everything that's going on? Not quite, but most of it. Lots of smashing and engines, really. The robots are starting to run low, though. Not surprising. There's probably only 2 minutes left, examinees! Make that 2 minutes left in the exam. Once I got what I believed was enough points, I came up here. Thought I could try and keep an eye on. Wait. What? What? What is it? Some sort of massive engine igniting. Something big is coming. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you want to learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered. And with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in the description below. The two tried to brace themselves as an earthquake rumbled through the area. Looking on in shock, the two saw the massive shape of what they knew could only be the 0-point robot, a gimmick with no point value, that was currently beginning to tear up the main street. Reacting quickly, Izuku ran toward the edge of the building, only turning when he heard his rooftop companion shout at him. I can hear someone trapped. Everyone's running away from it, but they're stuck. On it! Twisting in the air as he braced to land on a rooftop, Izuku rolled and then launched himself toward the main street with all the force available to him, covering a massive distance in only a couple of seconds. He fired another massive burst from the rings to stop his descent smoothly and land directly in the path of the 0-pointer. Izuku took stock of his surroundings. The street was shaking apart, and the 0-pointer was throwing rubble everywhere. And that's when he saw it. A particularly large piece of concrete had fallen and trapped the brown-haired girl who had stopped his fall before the exam. Izuku dashed over to her. Brace yourself! Izuku yelled as he approached the girl, who quickly put her head to the ground and put her hands behind it. Izuku got up close and sent 2 rings on either side of her to break and loosen the rubble, even as the 0-pointer spotted them and raised a hand, preparing to swat them. With the rubble loosened, Izuku was able to get the girl out from under it and begin moving away from the 0-pointer. Quickly, they moved away from the main street, sideways instead of straight away. The side streets were too narrow for the massive robot to move through, and its reach was limited, and so was its speed. By the time it reached them, the exam would be over. Are you okay? Mostly, yeah. I think my ankle is sprained. Thank you for saving me. One good turn deserves another. Hey. Multi-arms! How did you guess that? Guess what? That was astoundingly close to my quirk's name. Oh, I wasn't trying to. I just don't know your name and you have multiple arms. Well, it's Shoji. Nice to meet you, Shoji. Likewise. What's your name, then? Midoriya Izuku. Ochako Uraraka. Great to meet you both. Alright, that's it. The exam is over. Thank you, examinees. The 3 breathed a sigh of relief, then all jumped and covered their ears at the massive crash that was the 0-point robot deactivating and falling backwards. Izuku helped Ochako up and the 3 made their way to the main street where the other examinees were gathering. The conglomeration of examinees sported a plethora of bumps, bruises, scratches, and sprains, just as Uraraka did, and all were being tended to by an oddly small old lady using a faux syringe as a cane. There we go, dearie. You'll be quite all right. Recovery Girl gave a student a kiss on their hand, causing all of their wounds to vanish. Patting her healed patient on the back, she drew herself up to her full height and began to scan the area for injuries again. The senior hero shook her head as she spotted the 3, and especially Uraraka, making their way over to her. Oh my. I keep telling them that this type of exam only invites trouble on the students. All this combat, no thought, and all bruises. Actually, we think it was a sprain. It was a metaphor, Sonny. Well, come here and let me help. Uraraka hopped off Izuku and over to Recovery Girl, who gave her a kiss on the forehead to heal her sprain. Ah yes, the wonderful recovery girl, the reason UA can hold these exams in the first place. Aoyama, when did you get here? Before you did, mon ami. As Midoriya silently wondered whether the eccentric blonde had a teleportation quirk as well, Recovery Girl had been going on a small rant about her dislike of the exam. Thank you, Recovery Girl. You're very welcome. Of course you shouldn't have needed it in the first place. How did it happen? The 0-pointer threw a big piece of concrete into me. I am going to wring the little shrew's neck. Later. Let's get you all over to the buses and send you home. The four gathered around all thanked the hero before moving on their way to the bus. On board, they exchanged numbers, and soon enough all parted ways heading home. The teachers, however, had assembled in Principal Nezu's office, and were watching as Recovery Girl chewed out the unidentified mammal that was the principal himself. Really? You can't do anything about it? Nezu, if that girl had been hit with concrete on her head with enough force, even I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. I've warned you about how reckless the exam is before, and I'm sure you remember my many objections when that damn gimmick was introduced. Yes, I suppose some thought is required. Mr. Aizawa has also been expressing his opinions on how irrational the exam is in his view. Attempting to test the altruism of a child is irrational. Their personalities now will not be the same when they enter the hero field, not to mention how biased the whole thing is against students lacking flashier combat quirks. Indeed. Well, the judge's final assessments will be sent in soon. Everyone is free to go. Remember any last-minute preparations. Oh, Aizawa, stay behind if you will. The other teachers, such as Snipe, Present Mike, and All Might, left quietly as Aizawa remained standing in his corner next to the window. I'm sure you saw him. I must admit, I didn't expect it this soon. You still believe what Night Eye told us? He has yet to be wrong. Unfortunate. Indeed. It truly is a shame. He would have been a great asset to UA. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. So, without further ado, that's the end of the video. So have a divine day.